Hello, algebra students. In the last note video, we talked about products of polynomials, how to FOIL, multiplying a monomial by a polynomial, multiplying two polynomials, stuff like that. And we're going to be doing more of that today, but we're going to be talking about special products of polynomials. So here we're going to be looking for a pattern, and right away we're going to notice that each of these problems have a very similar format, all right? Like x minus 5 times x plus 5, 4m plus 7 times 4m minus 7. So they follow that same pattern, all right? The only thing that's different is that plus or minus. So let's just FOIL this first one out, okay? So when we FOIL it out, we're going to do x times x, and then x times 5. So we have an x squared plus 5x, and then we're going to do negative 5 times x, and then negative 5 times 5. So we're going to get negative 5x minus 25. All right, and if we simplify, we're going to notice that these middle terms are going to cancel. So all that we're left with is x squared minus 25. All right, let's look at the next one. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to FOIL here. So we're going to do 4m times 4m, 16m squared, 4m times negative 7, negative 28m, 7m, or 7 times 4m, positive 28m, and 7 times negative 7, negative 49, right? And once again, when we simplify, those middle terms are going to cancel. So our final answer is 16x squared, or excuse me, 16m squared minus 49. Okay, and last example here, all right, 8 times 8, 64. 8 times negative 5x is negative 40x, and I don't know why I wrote a 16, so let me get rid of that quick. So 64 minus 40x, and then we have plus 40x minus 25x squared, okay? And once again, those middle terms are going to cancel. So what we're left with in this case is 64 minus 25x squared. So let's look at what each of these problems have in common. We've already talked about a few, all right? But in each of these, okay, we have two binomials. All right, so binomials have two terms, right? And one binomial we're adding, and in the other binomial, we have a subtraction sign, okay? Another common characteristic is each of our answers is subtraction as well. So like in the first one, we have x squared minus 25. Then we have 16m squared minus 49, 64 minus 25x squared. Okay, so we're subtracting each time. Okay, so each answer has a subtraction sign. And then also notice that each answer itself is a binomial. Okay, so we're multiplying two binomials together, and our answer is also a binomial. Okay, and the O, okay, the O and the I in the FOIL, right? These steps right here to get this 5x here and this negative 5x, all right? Negative 28, positive 28, negative 40, positive 40. So that's the O and the I in FOIL. Every time they canceled. So the O and the I in FOIL cancel each other out. So this pattern is known as the sum and difference pattern, okay? And the sum and difference pattern is going to happen every time we have a plus b multiplied by a minus b. Okay, so notice how that pattern is, or that form is the same as the first three problems above. We have something plus something times something minus something, right? And then a shortcut for this, okay, because we already talked about how that O and the I step in FOIL always cancel, so you only need to use the F and the L from FOIL to get our answer, okay? And If that step doesn't make sense to you or you don't recognize it right away, still just FOIL it out like you normally would. And then if you do get comfortable using this and you do understand what's going on, it just shortens up your work just a little bit. All right, so in these next two examples, we're going to try our shortcut. So we only need to do the F and the L in FOIL, okay? So the F is the first term in each parenthesis multiplied by each other. So y times y is y squared. And the L is the last terms multiplied by each other. So 11 times negative 11 is negative 121. And that's our final answer. All right, let's try the same thing for number 2. So we're going to do the first times the first. So 7 times 7 is 49. And then we have the last times the last. So negative 2m times 2m is negative 4m squared. So when we're finding the product with a sum and difference pattern, the work here is really short. All right, we're basically taking that first term, multiplying it by each other, and then taking that last term, multiplying each other. We don't need to worry about the O and the I steps in FOIL here. Okay, let's talk about a different pattern we might see. All right, so notice that each of these problems, we're squaring something. We're no longer doing a sum and difference pattern. We're multiplying that thing by itself. All right, so what that means is, okay, x plus 5 squared is x plus 5 times x plus 5. All right, and if we FOIL that out, okay, x times x is x squared. 5x or 5 times x is 5x. And then 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so we did the first, then the outsides, then the insides, and the last. Okay, we did our foiling there. And if we simplify this, we get x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, so for example number 2, that first step's the same. We have 8 minus 3m times 8 minus 3m. Multiply the first terms together, we get 64. Multiply the outside terms together, we get negative 24m. Multiply those inside terms together, we also get negative 24m. And then we multiply those last terms together, and we get positive 9m squared. Okay, we simplify this, we'll get 64 minus 48m plus 9m squared. All right, let's try the last example here. So 6x plus 5 squared, we have 6x plus 5 times 6x plus 5. Okay, we do the first term times the first term, so that's 36x squared. We do the last, okay, or the outside terms, okay, so 6x times 5, that's 30x. We do the two inside terms multiplied by each other, that's also 30x. And then we do the last terms in each set of parentheses multiplied by each other, and that's 25. Okay, so if we simplify this, we get 36x squared plus 60x plus 25. All right, so in each of these three problems, each problem is a binomial squared. So we're squaring a binomial, so we're squaring something with two terms. All right, and the problem can either have addition or subtraction. So notice in each problem, we can have an x plus 5 squared, we can have something minus something squared, okay? So it's not always going to be something plus something times something minus something. We can have addition or subtraction in there now, okay? And then each answer, in this case, when we're squaring a binomial, each answer is a trinomial. So sum and difference is a binomial, but squaring something gives us a trinomial, okay? And the middle term, so that would be the 10x here, the negative 48m here, And the 60x here is just the O or the I step in FOIL, all right? We're just doubling that. So if we look back at this middle step here, the O step was 5x and the I step was 5x. So we're always doubling that, okay? Negative 24, we get negative 48. Positive 30, positive 30, positive 60. So now we'll try two examples here. All right, so for this first one, I'm just going to rewrite it as 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. Okay, first terms in each multiplied together, we get 9x squared. Outside terms, we get negative 15x. Inside terms, we also get negative 15x. And then last terms, we get positive 25. So this simplified is 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. All right, notice how the O and the I steps are both negative 15. So when we simplify, get our final answer, that middle term is twice as much as the O or twice as much as the I. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. All right, we have 2y plus 7 squared. So 2y plus 7 times 2y plus 7. All right, first times the first, that equals 4y squared. Outside terms multiplied together, plus 14y. Inside terms multiplied together, also 14y. And the last terms plus 49. Okay, so these terms in the middle here, the O and the I, are always going to be equal. Okay, so that's kind of one way you can check your work to see if you're doing that part right. Those two terms should always be equal. All right, if we simplify this, we get 4y squared plus 28y plus 49. All right, and that there is our final answer.